So my name is Ankita. I'm the regional manager for the African region for Frappe. I've been with Frappe for the last 3 years now. Earlier, I was in the capacity of corporate services. Now, for the last 2 years, I'm managing the African region. So I'd like you to introduce Sapna. She has already introduced herself in a way. So she will be the host for today. So they are coming from KoreCent. And they are our registered partner, and they will showcase a quick overview of Frappe products. So a bit background of Sapna. So Sapna is a CTO at KoreCent, and she is an IT veteran, passionate about businesses and simplifying complex problems. And she brings a wealth of experience in ERP Next implementation, automation, and app modernization. So we welcome her and appreciate her efforts in putting together for us this webinar. So over to you, Sapna. Maybe you can speak a bit about yourself before we start, and then we can dive into the topic of discussion.
Thank you so much, Ankita. It's really nice to hear your the adjectives from somebody else on the call, and you feel even more motivated because I know the audience is all keen to see a wonderful product from Frappe, which is ERP Next, and with which we have been working since the last almost a decade. And it's been a wonderful experience coming from a background of SAP, because when you bring in best practices from a gold standard product, you definitely reap in a lot of benefits, and your customers are very happy. So that's what I'm trying to endeavor, and hope that today I'm able to solve your complex business problems through a small presentation. The time's gonna be just 1 hour, so I'll try to keep it very fast so that we can cover most of the things. And we'll keep the question and answers in during the last. If you have any specific questions to the typical module, then you can add them to the chat box, and my wonderful team here, Ankita and Puneet, will be able to answer that for you.
Also, I forgot that. Let me also introduce you to Puneet. He's a regional manager for Americas. So maybe Puneet, you can tell a bit about yourself as well.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for joining. So I look after the business development for Americas, including both North and Latin Americas. And yes, you have any business related queries, you have any implementation queries, feel free to reach out. We'll be linking our email IDs in the chat box. So after the call, you can reach out to anybody. Over to you, Sapna.
All right. Thank you so much. So I'm going to share my screen. Please bear with me, and let me know if you're all able to view it. Okay.
All right. Sorry, can I quickly ask a question? Sorry. Yeah, I wanted to find the company that Sapna works for.
Yes, that's on the screen now.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that's the company. Yeah. Okay, I just seen it. Thank you.
All right, great. No problem. Thank you. So I'm going to get started, and although I love a lot of questions, but just so that I can utilize the time at hand and of course respect the time that you have today, just 1 hour, I'm going to keep the question and answers to the end again. So let us know during the chat sessions in between if you have any specific ones, and I'll try and address them as well. Okay. So getting started, so KoreCent, yes, I've been working with this company for more than a decade, and in total, I have about 20 years of experience. I come from an IT background, but I'm handling program management at KoreCent, and of course, I'm helping my customers who come from technical and non-technical backgrounds both in simplifying their processes, mapping, automating, and keeping things as fast as possible in terms of data input in the system, bulk imports, and wonderful features that ERP Next helps with, so that they can accelerate their revenues. So I'm going to move forward with a slight introduction. So before that, I'm going to also share the agenda for today's webinar, which includes the solution capabilities of ERP Next, and the modules that we'll be covering would be mainly focused on HR and payroll. That's for the US and Canadian regions. The general features would also be covered, hoping that time allows. I'll try and cover them in depth, which will be the basic details of the product and something which is standard across for all the modules in terms of usability. So this is a bit about our company. We are located in Canada, US, and India. And our complete focus is in US market, and we are silver and certified for ERP Next. And we are helping a lot of our enterprise, small and mid-sized companies across the globe, especially in US, with the transformation, which is not just an ERP overhaul, but it is also workflow automations or simple custom solutions which fit and integrate with their existing problems. Talking about ERP Next, it's an agile ERP, as you all are aware. It's based on cloud as well as on the premise, and it is low code or no code. So what I mean by low code is that there are a lot of wonderful features which do not require complex coding. So most of the things are already in there. So if there's an actual expert that you're dealing with, they shouldn't be telling you with a lot of hours or months of input that is needed from their end to enable you for this implementation. So that's what low code basically means. When I talk about no licenses, then there is no license. So that means you can enable as many users as you want. It could be your company users, it could be your customers, it could be your suppliers, your vendors, which is basically having them access the most needed things via portals. So it could be a supplier portal, it could be a customer portal, employee portal, it could be your runners or driver portal if you're having an e-commerce on the ERP platform. So it's an end-to-end platform, which means you don't have to go to any software as such. But having said that, that doesn't mean that it's a complete migration you need to do in terms of an ERP. You can also have it for small custom fixes or solutions that you would want to in terms of extending the existing capabilities you have in your company. I see there's a hand, but if it's not too urgent, then I would like to move forward. But if it is related to the current slide, please go ahead and ask the question. Okay, so ERP Next is highly scalable. So which means that as your company grows, it could be a single company today, it could be a multiple company tomorrow. You don't have to change your software. You can have it all on a single platform. And it's multi-currency. So if you're having cross-border operations, you can definitely utilize the power of the system. It has a comprehensive interface, definitely overwhelming with the trial version because it has everything just like a platter. But that doesn't mean that after the implementation, that's what you'll get. You'll only get what you really need without the clutter, that is with the terminologies that you prefer in the system. And of course, with your own custom UI and UX preferences. So having said that, I'll move forward with the other details about ERP Next. Majorly, we are focusing on HR module, but there are other modules that ERP Next comes in. So in the future webinars, we'll be covering other modules, which are accounting, it could be simple QuickBooks movement. So accounting takes care of that. There's a QuickBooks migrator. Purchasing or buying module, which takes care of your vendors, your RFQs, your quotations by your vendors. Quality management, an important one, because that's part of your manufacturing, that's part of your quality processes and your project manufacturing as well. Asset management, which is part of accounts, but again, that helps you with the asset repair, movement in the company, and also calculation of the assets. Inventory management is a robust module again in ERP Next, wherein you can have multiple warehouses and track your inventory movements real time with the actuals and the balances with the projected inventory real time. Manufacturing is supported with a lot of tools like the BOM comparison, BOM updates, multi-level BOM creators, which are useful because you don't need to get in touch with an expert to, especially in the IT field, to go ahead and do the little things in the system. You can easily use those tools to view the reports real time, to compare and do your production planning. Customer relationship management is again a robust feature of ERP Next because we've had customers move in from Salesforce over to ERP Next, which means the CRM is pretty extensive, I would say. Project management, my favorite module. So I always recommend my customers to tag their transactions with projects so that they can manage it all via projects. And that means they can track the issues, they can track their tasks, they can track their timesheets, and of course, the billing and costing part of the project with regards to the budgeting that they have in mind. LMS and education is for, varied other capabilities related to courses, chapters, having your online modules, online courses, which could be paid or free with video capabilities, articles, PDFs, and a lot more. Selling is, of course, the most important part for any organization other than other modules, which are basically addressing your sales, your pipelines, and of course, related to your CRM, invoicing, advance payments, and all of that. Support is for ticketing. It could be, and it's all SLA managed, and SLA can be custom for each of your customers. So support is pretty robust in that aspect as well. And the HR and payroll that we'll be focusing on today. So it's a very vast module. So I'll try do justice and try cover the most of the features. So what's the benefit of ERP Next HR and payroll solution? Why ERP Next? Why not ADP for payroll? Why not having an integration with other existing tools? First of all, there's no license, as I said. And secondly, you're just basically calculating a return on timely investment that you're doing with regards to ERP Next, of course, with the right partner. So automating all your HR tasks when it comes to employee onboarding, your leave requests, attendance tracking. That's number one. Number two benefit that is, and these are just a couple of limited benefits that I've personally observed in the past few years, having implemented this for our own company as well. Calculation of salaries, taxes, and deductions accurately, reducing the errors. Helping in compliance with the labor laws and regulations, and in fact, the tax compliances as well. It also provides employees with self-service portals to access their own data and tracks employee training and development needs. So when it comes to a huge HR team or a single person doing the HR all in all, the system is supposed to do the work of a team and help you in custom fit to your business rather than the other way around. So the feature list we'll be covering majorly includes recruitment, employee lifecycle, and I don't think so I've missed on any of them, but it's pretty robust and extensive. So employee lifecycle would be covering your employee onboarding, separation, full and final, promotions, transfers, grievance, reminders, skill maps. Recruitment is again extensive, wherein you are helped with a staffing plan, job openings that you can basically publish on external sites. You can also have your website on ERP Next, by the way. So if not, then you can route it to your external sites. For the careers page, you have real-time applications recorded against those job openings. Interview rounds, which help you select multiple interviewers. And of course, you can reschedule interviews. You can sync in with your MS Teams or your Google Calendar as well for real-time updates to your candidates. Of course, there's a GDPR compliance, so all your records, if needed, can be removed. And all those custom capabilities exist, and that's based on the business to business. Interview feedbacks are, again, very intuitive, because you get to know what's the exact feedback and what are the notes and what is the rating, and against various other skills that you might have identified for a role or a designation. Job offers, again, job offers can be printed to PDF. You can have your own custom formats, terms and conditions, and dynamically fetching in the values from the records or the applicant for which you are creating the job offer. And again, everything in here is supported by wonderful analytics and reports. So I've not covered all the analytics part, but I'll try and show you the most important ones. Shifts, time and attendance, and leave management, and expense management. So expense management is part of payroll, but I'll try cover that as well to some extent. Salary payouts, which is very useful and quite, I would say, dynamic, because it helps you add a lot of calculations real time. It could be custom to your company. They could be paid time offer overs. They could be other components that you may be having, which might not be standard to the state or to the federal. So you can all, have it configured here. Performance management is managing your appraisals, your goals, the KRAs, and recording the feedback and giving you a 360 overview of, the experience with the company, not just to the employer, but also to the employee. Tax and benefits, again, like I discussed, is more for tax compliances. But again, this is a global system, so it needs implementation specific to a country. Most of the things are already understood by the right partner. Recruitment, as we discussed, so I'll move forward quickly. This is the staffing plan, just a high-level overview of when you create a staffing plan, you decide the dates for which period you are basically calculating the plan and budgeting. So this could be via the department, and you have a button here which says get job requisitions, which basically pulls in all the open jobs that you have in the system, and you can specify the vacancies or make changes, have an estimated cost per position, and accordingly you'll have a total estimated cost and a total estimated budget in the staffing plan itself. These are a couple of jobs, so you can have your career pages and you can have whatever details you would want to display for your jobs or your job openings real time with the salary range if needed, and the details of the job description. This is all being dynamically fetched from the Next. These are a couple of applicants that I have received. As you can see, I've been doing some screening, so I've added some ratings and stars. And this is the list view of all those applicants. So these applicants appear as a list. I can go into each applicant to view its details, and I can see the status for that applicant, whether I've accepted, replied, if that applicant has been interacting with me, if that's rejected. But again, that doesn't mean that you have to follow the standard statuses in the system. You can have your own custom statuses also, which is helpful for your recruitment cycle. Interview rounds. So whenever you're creating interview rounds as a prerequisite, before you create any interviews, you can define single or multiple interviewers. You can define the interview type, whether that would be online or offline, have an expected average rating, and definitely the designation or the role against which you are creating these interview rounds. If you would want to restrict them to those particular roles, that can be specified, along with the various skill sets against which you will be providing rating. That is, your interviewers will be providing a rating. So this is one of the screenshots. I'm sorry, I had to hide in a couple of details just for proprietary reasons. So this is the record for an interview that I created for one of the candidates, wherein you can see that the details for that candidate has automatically been fetched in. Even the job opening from which this applicant applied to has been fetched in. And these links are clickable. So if you click on here, it will take you to that respective job opening. And if you scroll down, you can see the interviewers, and you can also see the expected rating along with the obtained average rating. And this obtained average rating automatically comes in when you submit a feedback. That is when your interviewer submits a feedback on the top with the button click. Via the actions, the interviewer can reschedule as well. And then an email notification goes to the candidate as well as to the interviewer, so that it confirms that this is the time, and that can integrate with your Google or MS Teams calendar as well. Interview feedback. So this is how an interview feedback basically looks like. Again, this can be customized to your preference. So this is the rating that the candidate has received. And this is the feedback summary against the skills calculated from the ratings. This is how the interview feedback looks like. So this is an interview round called a technical round for a job applicant round. And this is the interview link, which had these ratings recorded in the feedback. So if you have multiple interviewers, they'll have, each of them will have their own feedback. So for every skill, they're giving in a rating and they're submitting, and it automatically updates against that applicant. And you can see the feedback in notes as well in the bottom. If needed, can be added by the interviewer. So recruitment analytics, as you can see, there are some standard analytics the system already provides you, which includes certain stats. And of course, you can have your own charts. You can see different kinds of charts. You can add your widgets or charts, and you can even filter each of these charts. Moving forward to the employee life cycle, and I would be covering onboarding, like I discussed earlier, separation, full and final settlement, some promotional transfers, and the entire life cycle in short. Onboarding. So onboarding is more like a schedule that you have a set, preset, activities or tasks that need to be performed, and you have designated or responsible users against them who get notifications as per the schedule. So this is a typical onboarding. And as you can see, I've created this onboarding for an applicant. I don't need to fill in the details for the applicant or the details with regards to that applicant every time. If I created employee onboarding, it automatically fetches in the details from the job applicant. So this is the name that's been fetched in automatically, the date of joining that I've provided for the employee onboarding. And you may be having a pre-onboarding and pre-onboarding is more like when you are onboarding a candidate before they are eligible to become an employee, and then the activities that need to be performed unless and until they are completed, that candidate cannot become an employee. So you have the feature of Kanban views in the system as well. So you can make Kanbans for the list views that you have. So you have several employee onboardings. You can see them in Kanban via the statuses. You can actually drag and drop these records as well. Mark them as favorites and view certain details on the card level itself. Exits. So exits is part and parcel of employee lifecycle. Nobody likes, but that's the truth. So coming over to exit, similar to employee onboarding, it also has certain set of activities against a certain schedule and responsible users. And you can also view certain dashboards for the exit. So there are a lot of reports for every module, but I'm just covering few of them. So this is one of the dashboards for an employee. As you can see, the records of all the employees who've resigned, what are the resignations, how many are pending exit interviews, full and final settlement, and how many are pending questionnaires. You can see all the details, and each of them is clickable. So it will take you to that granular level of the record. So just like onboarding, exit, like I said, has certain activities and the responsible users and the roles of those users. If you want the entire role, whoever user is having that role to get a notification for performing that activity, you can ignore the user and just add the role. Full and final settlement. So this is basically when you have to calculate the no dues, if there are any payables, all of that, that's part of the payroll to close the account for that particular employee. This is where you come to. Exit interview. So this includes a couple of questions that you can have and they are again custom that you can add into a certain form and you can fill in for your record purposes. Promotions and transfers, yes, an important aspect again in employee life cycle. So you can create promotions and define the changes for that particular employee in terms of designation or grade, for example, and also the salary. Grievances, again, an important aspect because if you have a happy workforce, satisfied employees, you definitely will make better growth. So grievances can be managed inside in the system wherein you can track the statuses of that grievance, the date, and whoever is raising the grievance, the supervisor or their manager or the concerned will get a notification as has been set during the implementation plan. So birthday reminders, work anniversary reminders, you can have all of that automatically being tracked in the system so that you can get those beautiful updates on emails and you don't have to actually miss out on anybody important. Everybody is important, I believe, in an organization, big or small. So it's always good to say, appreciate them for work anniversaries or birthdays. Employee skill maps. So employee skill maps is an important feature because it helps you have a review with your employee wherein you are able to see the proficiency levels of their skills, which are automatically populated from the designation that you've chosen. Kind of a one-on-one review, you could say, as a manager or before the performance appraisal, basically, wherein you can specify the evaluation dates. You can create as many skill maps as you want for an employee, and you can identify the training needs, if any. So below, it gives you options to add the training needs and the training date. So more like a record with the employee as well, so that he knows that he has to cover these things in order to go to the next level. Shifts, time, and attendance. So ERP Next easily integrates with biometric devices. Yes, there are certain client secret keys and IDs that need to be configured with the device so that it automatically starts doing so. And you can also have the capability of adding in check-ins and checkouts. That's useful because you might want to monitor your workforce, especially when it comes to manufacturing companies. Also, they are billing in by the hour. So it's important that the check-ins are recorded in the system. You have different shifts. So the capability for any employee to work different shifts, request for a shift change, and assign them, and keep a record of that is all available in the system. Again, wonderful reports and analytics are available at the management level to view how the things are going. So this is an employee attendance tool, very much widely used and very useful. And it gives you the real time, it fetches in the current date that you open this tool at normally. Filters give you the capability of filtering your employees. So all your employees that you want are automatically listed with checkboxes. So you can select all, or you can select a couple of them. You can mark a status as present, absent, work from home, or leave, and you can define the shift if needed. You can also mark a late entry and early exit. So if you would want to track that, you can also track that. Below, it gives you a report of all the employees that you've marked as attendance with their status. So the attendance records are automatically generated in the system without you having to manually create them. Again, you can also use the capability of Excel or CSV bulk import in the system for marking attendance of your employees. So this is the shift capability. So this is a night shift. You can define the time. You can also define a couple of settings needed with your device for the auto attendance feature, wherein you can define whether it would be the first check-in and the last checkout, or every alternate check-in checkout with that fingerprint or biometric device. And you can also define the working hours threshold, if they can check in a couple of minutes before the start time, and if they can check out a couple of minutes after the start end time. And you can also mark attendance on holidays. So there are a couple of other checks and settings available that you can have as per your preference. You can also view the records in a calendar view. So this gives you real-time view of how the shifts have been assigned on the calendar. So you can see all of that. Attendance reports. So you can add multiple filters, but yeah, you can filter it by the month, year, employees, company. So if you have multiple companies, you can choose it from here. You can group by certain other parameters, and you can also summarize it. So you can see the attendance view real time for all your employees. And you can export any of the reports to an Excel or CSV, even to a PDF. You can also have the auto email capability, wherein you can email filtered or frequently filtered or every day or certain weekly or maybe say monthly reports to your management or stakeholders. Leave management. So you can define a leave policy, which means what kind of leaves you would have in that leave policy. It could be sick leave, casual leave, paid time over or whatever, and with the allocations against them. So that will automatically generate leave allocations. And you can have different leave policies for your contractual employees. You can have different leave policies for your full-time employees. By the state, maybe you may have certain employees or designation, defining the leave policies. So you can have as many leave policies as you want, and only those employees who have been assigned that leave policies will have those allocations happening automatically. Leave calendar gives you a calendar view, leave applications that we'll have a look at, and holiday list. So this is a global system. That means that you can have a localization when it comes to the holidays. We'll have a look at that. So as you can see, this is a leave policy. I've added in a couple of leave types, and at the leave type level, when you create a leave type in the system, then you have a lot of settings that you can utilize to specify if that leave type depends on working days. If that leave type has certain restriction by, if an employee cannot take more than say n number of leaves for that particular type, that all can be defined within the leave type itself. And whether that's a compensatory leave type, that also can be checked and applied at the leave type level. So when you define all those leave types, you can add them in a leave policy and you can do an annual allocation against them. When you assign them using this plus icon for a connection that is available system-wide for every document and applicable documents that are linked to it, they will have the leave allocations generated automatically. Leave calendar, again, a calendar view of viewing the leaves. Application. So when you create a leave application, this is even your employee, they select a certain leave type when they select their name or you select their name, then automatically their balances are shown. The various types of leaves and the balances allocated, utilized, and the available ones. So if they have already exhausted their leave balance, they won't be able to apply the leave for that particular leave type. Holiday list, you can define the dates for which you're creating a holiday list. You can add weekly holidays like maybe Friday or Sundays as being a week off, depending on your country or depending on your company policies. And you can add local holidays. So by the country and again, further areas, you can add to the holiday list, automatically giving you the capability of adding those dates and marking those holidays, which as a holiday list, when you apply to an employee, it automatically means that that employee is on and off that day. So he cannot take a leave on that holiday. So the system is taking care of details to that level. Again, this is the holiday list on a calendar view. Leaves can be encashed. I'll come back to that screen. Leaves can be encashed. This is again part of Payroll, a very extensive module that is being developed by KoreCent currently for all the 50 states of US at the maturing stage. So when it comes to configuration of your salaries and encashment rules, you can have that feature already there in the system, and you can easily manage them for all your employees through the Payroll engine in ERP Next. Leave balance reports, as we just discussed. So there are a couple of leave balance reports as well. So you can see the various leave types, all the employees and against those leave types who have taken a leave and how many leaves have been allocated, how many have been taken. So you can all track that from this report. You can again filter by the department, employee, and status. So if an employee has already left, you can even view the report. Expense management. So expense claims, an important part. So every expense claim helps you view it real time in the accounting ledger. You can also do bank entries for the expense claims, and expense claims could be for employee advance. It could be for claims for an official reason, for example, traveling. So all of that can be managed via expense claims in the system, taken care of automatically in the payroll. Advances, so employees could be taking in advances, and the unutilized advances, the repay unclaimed amount from salaries automatically managed if you check this box. Fleet management, so you may want to manage transport or vehicles and track expenses. So you have reports and other capabilities for fleet management in the system. You can manage the mileage, the vehicle expenses, you can define the vehicle's model, make, the log, and of course, fuel quantities, dates, you can track all of that in the system utilizing the vehicle or the fleet management. Claim reports. So you can track all the expense claims, the unpaid expense claims, and you can see the outstanding amount real time via a report. Performance management. So again, a useful feature which covers appraisals. So you can create appraisal templates as a prerequisite, wherein you can define all the conditions. And from those appraisal templates, you can create multiple appraisals. The appraisal cycle basically is the period for which that appraisal is valid for, and you can define goals, view them in a tree view for every employee so that they know how much has to be covered and what's the progress of that goal. So you'll get to see real time without verbally confirming if they have completed that goal. KRAs and criterias can also be updated in the system, and the feedback can be recorded real time. I'll just give you a sneak peek of that. So appraisal cycles. So you can create an appraisal cycle. As you can see, it has connections. So every record in the system has connections. So whatever linked documents it is allowing you to create from, also the number of records that already exist come as a number against them. So if you click on this, you'll go to the list view filtered for this particular appraisal cycle. So in the performance review, you can see the KRAs that you have defined for that designation or role and the appraisal template. So when you created an appraisal, it was utilizing this appraisal template that already included the KRAs and the performance criteria. You can define the weightage in the template, or you can define it in the appraisal if it differs for certain employees. And your goal completions and score will be calculated read-only automatically by the system. Similarly, you can track the feedback that has been received. Similar to the interview feedback, we also have performance feedback. So your HR, your managers can be giving an feedback, and also the employee can give a self-appraisal. So whatever feedback is recorded is reflected real time within the employee's appraisal itself. So you can see the ratings, you can see the comments, and when those details were posted. So you can see the timeline as well. And you can attach multiple attachments in the system. Again, a standard feature, using your camera, using your computer, using an external link. So all of that is already available. You can see the number of reviews. You can share this document with a certain person who may not be authorized to view appraisal for anybody else, but you may want to share for certain reason with certain levels of access. Salary payouts. So like I discussed, salary component can be defined. So you can have multiple salary components, and each component can be defined via a type, whether it's an earning or a deduction with a certain description. You also have certain settings available, which says depends on payment days or not, if it's tax applicable, if you would want to deduct the full tax on a selected payroll date, if it's just a statistical component meant for calculations. If you do not want to include this component in the total in your slips, and if you want to remove if it's zero valued. So all of this is available, and additional features can be added by your implementation partner if that's specific to your company or country. And again, if you've created certain components you don't want to utilize right now, you can disable them. So they would not be available for usage in the system unless and until you enable them. You'll mark the accounts, you'll map the accounts against them. And again, the salary components have a condition and formula tab wherein you can define the conditions and also specify if it is applicable for flexible benefits. So as you can see in the condition and formula tab, you can define various conditions. There are certain notes and examples provided. And if this condition or this component is based on a formula, you can specify the formula here. Some examples have been listed on the right-hand side. If you're updating a certain component after it's been created, but it's already part of salary structures, then you can update the salary structures directly from here by the click of a button. A typical or a standard salary structure common to all locales. So just a bonus and a basic in travel, for example purposes, automatically managed because the components included the formulae. So you define the amount or you define the formulae, and when you create the slip, automatically the values are calculated. So this depends on working days. If it's tax applicable, you can view all those details in the salary structure that you've defined for a certain employee. You can also define salary structure and assign it to multiple employees. Salary structures could be based on components. They could also be based on timesheets in the system. So you can define an hourly rate in the salary structure, and you can generate slips which are calculating based on the hours from the timesheets. So this is a typical salary slip, which includes the details of the earnings and deductions coming in from the structure. And you can see the values, real time, and the net pay. Every document in the system can be exported to a PDF, can be downloaded as a PDF. So that allows you to print, as well as you can email PDFs of that record to anybody in the organization or outside the organization. Bank entries, an important part, because you would want to reconcile with your bank, you would want to make some entries and have those records in the system. So you can integrate banks in the system as well. Again, this could vary depending on the banks and the features that you would want. So this is just an example wherein you can see the accounting entries for a bank entry. You can see the reference number, the date, the marks, and the total debits and credit. Payroll entry. So generating salary slips in draft or submitted view. So draft and submitted view is wherein you want to review the salary slips after the payroll entry before you finally submit them. And submitted is when you're submitting them regardless without having to review. So you can do the payroll entries and you can make bank entries as well from the payroll entry itself. You can also filter the employees for whom the payroll entry is being done. And you can check this box on the bottom which says validate attendance. So you can validate their attendance and working days so that the payroll entry can be running in likewise. Integrated with timesheets, as we spoke, additional salaries. So earnings, deductions, bonuses, incentives, this can all be managed through the additional salary. Wherein you can define the payroll date, the salary component, which is very important because it includes all your settings and conditions and the amount. So certain are the settings available. Employee incentive, retention bonus, payroll reports. Now coming over to the payroll reports. So one of the reports is salary register. You can see the timeline. You can change the timeline. You can change the company if you have multiple companies. You can filter by the employee and you can see the various employees here for the salary register in a chart view as well as in the detailed report view. This is a very useful report. I'm sure you'll all be utilizing this to the most. Taxations and benefits. So I'll be skipping in this part. Mostly I'll be going in fast because this is very generic to every in terms of the system, but not specific to the US as such. So I'm just disclosing certain features. So you have some exemptions and for the taxations, some proof submission records already there in the system and tax reports. And conditions can be applied state-wise for the income tax calculations. Flexible benefits, employee benefit claim. So as we discussed, there are also benefit claims that the employees are entitled to. So it could be lump sum and it could be pro rata, depends on how it is for your organization. So coming over to the Frappe HR mobile app. So this is a very useful utility because everybody won't be utilizing PC all day. You're on the run, especially the HR team. So you need something flexible when it comes to the independence with the device. So mobile application from Frappe HR helps you resolve all of that. So coming over to the general features now that we have covered HR and payroll on high level. Ideally, this is the time I open up for questions, but due to the constraint that we have hardly 15 minutes left, I'll quickly cover the general features, which are the most important aspect from an implementation point of view. So ERP Next is pretty robust and dynamic. So you have easy customizations available, which an expert can add for you one time, and you can make changes if needed later. So you have client and server-side scripts available in the system without having to enter in the code from the backend to do changes if needed immediately. There are certain data feed types. So you have checkboxes, select boxes, table views, multi-select table views, attach options for attaching in files, your barcode fields, so plug and play barcode feature, HTML fields for your custom logics, geolocations, durations when it comes to the time, signature field, so signatures can also be recorded against certain documents, and rating, like we just saw. There are many more features and fields. I've just covered a couple of them. Frappe Insights is similar to Microsoft BI, but much more intuitive because it allows you to real time and dynamically, create inquiries and, view the results in a visual manner. So you can analyze the data. You can select the records. You can summarize by certain fields, and you can add in filters if needed, and you can execute to view the report. So you can also connect external data sources. So Frappe Insights is not limited to ERP Next. You can connect external data sources to analyze all the data that you have in the system. So I'm adding in a filter. And as you can see, this is all without code. You can also add some column expressions if needed. So these are a couple of dashboards, and I can click on each of them and just see the results real time. This is all being fetched real time from the system. You don't have to refresh each time you open it. So this is allowing me to add various other widgets or charts. So I'm creating my own dashboard and resizing as per my preferences. So calendar views we already saw. So you can create in different calendar views. You can have Google Calendar integration as well as MS Teams integration. So this is all real-time Kanban boards. So different Kanbans can be created. You can have different, look and feel to it. You can drag and drop the cards, and you can click on any of the card to view the details. Print formats. So you have print builder feature in the system wherein you can drag and drop the fields to create your own custom layouts, and you can have multiple print formats, and they are all multilingual. So you can choose in the different languages. You can have different print formats. So for every customer, you can choose a different print format depending on the type of customer for the same record. So this is one of a custom print format. Email capabilities. So every record in the system, you can email to anybody with a to BCCC and also have wonderful email templates with your own design, look and feel. So you can email the record real time with using the PDF view as one of the attachments if needed. So you can check that box and you can send emails from the system. Again, this is not an email engine. It is just facilitating emails using your email account, which could be configured with the Outlook, with Microsoft, with any, with Google, for example, with any engine as such, which helps you with the SMTPI. So these are a couple of screenshots of the activities. So you can see the activities on the bottom, how you can track the activities, and you can see the timestamp, who changed, what was changed. You can all track for any document. It gives you the complete transparency. Emails that you send out come in an email queue, so you can monitor if the status is sent or not. If at all there are too many emails being sent out, you want to track that. Bulk data import and export. So you can import in bulk using the bulk import feature. And you can also import from Google Sheets. You can do from Excel and CSV, and you'll have a preview generated as well as the import log. If there's an error, it will give you an error log as well so that you can correct them in the Excel and import it again. There are a lot of integrations already available. These are just few of them. So it integrates with Shopify, WooCommerce, AWS. For backups, you can maintain your backups in AWS, Dropbox, PayPal, and other payment gateways. In addition, it has different integrations defined by the categories. So There are a lot of integrations we have as an organization also achieved. So sky's the limit. So every partner would have their own integration bucket. So anything having a REST API, in short, be it a hardware device or a software application, can be integrated with ERP Next. Workflows are a wonderful, I would say, feature, because every enterprise especially wants workflows and automations. They want to get rid of spreadsheets. They want to have assignments, notifications, and basically covering in, tracking in and auditing every stage of their document. So workflows are also available in the system. You can have your own custom statuses, approval, rejections, and different statuses or states. So every record can have its own workflow. You can have the transition rules defined, and you can utilize the workflow builder. So it's as simple as dragging and dropping a state from here and creating different states. UI and UX preference. So even though I love the ERP Next interface, but sometimes everybody has their own custom branding themes. So you can generate and create new themes in the system. You can have them created by your partner, basically, wherein you can have a custom look and feel on the nav bars or the colors. So these just couple of examples. So you can have your own kind of a login page, list views, some neat and clear views of the modules. And this is how the implementation looks like in the end, because then you have what you really need rather than what you really don't require. Giving you a better choice, especially when you have a team of purchase and sales. They are non-technical guys. They don't want to look at details that don't, are not valid for them. So hosting features, yes, hosting is available with Frappe Cloud. So it could be your self-hosted server. So you can take advantage of the hybrid feature in Frappe Cloud, wherein you don't need to hire a DevOps guy to maintain your server. All your disaster recovery, your backups, your analytics, upgrades are all managed by Frappe Cloud. And this is your own sign up. So this is your own account, your own data, your own server. So you can have it either on a dedicated or shared hosting, or you can have hybrid if you want to still maintain your existing self-hosted service. So these are a couple of rates, and you can create sites and you can select the plans. Depending on the CPU usage, the plans vary, and they're pretty affordable. You get, of course, you get product warranty for free with Frappe Cloud. So that's about it, with the target of completing it in time. We still have a few minutes for the question and answer. So please feel free to shoot your questions. And these are our email addresses and contact details. So if you want to take a note of it, you may go ahead and contact us anytime.
All right. So Sapna, there are some couple of questions in the chat box. So we'll take it one by one. So the first question is there employee disciplinary action?
Disciplinary action, if I understand, it's related to employee grievance, or yes, you can have, if there's a record that's not existing in the system, you can have your own custom doc type or object. So disciplinary action can be set, because every company might not be wanting to do that. They're definitely custom, so that can all be created via a custom doc type in the system and linked to the respective workflow for your tracking.
Great. So next question is from Rex. For check-in and check-out of employees, can we use a barcode? This is important, especially for production workers.
Yes, you can use barcodes. Not for check-in and check-out. Barcodes are for your items. I think what you mean is a biometric, is it?
No, it's for different product lines. So if workers would like to work on a particular product line and their hours charged to that particular product line, we're looking into using barcodes for them. So I'm wondering if ERP Next would have that capability.
Yes, so barcode is plug and play. Of course, barcodes have to be maintained at a certain master data level. So if you have that already stored in the system, when they scan a certain barcode, it will be automatically detected.
Okay.
I think, Rex, you have a follow-up question also that the check-in and check-out of the employees, can the hours be charged to specific GL codes, especially for different projects?
Yes, they can be configured that way. Yes.
All right. Next, okay, Rex, you have a follow-up?
Yeah, is
Please
that
go
me?
ahead.
You're talking about my question?
Yes, yes.
Basically, I thought this session will cover things like accounting and manufacturing, which is the core area of my business.
Rex, you can join in for our next week's webinar on Wednesday. So we'll cover manufacturing and accounting over there.
Oh, that's
Okay.
next Wednesday. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, you can just visit our events page. It's on the next Wednesday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. IST. And that is taken directly by Frappe.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Next question is by Shagun. How to handle round-the-clock shifts for nursing and hospitals?
A very good question. So, yeah, you need to create in multiple shifts in the system. They could be different shift types, definitely. So, configuration around that is needed to one time map it. So, when you have all the shifts put in, you can have round the clock shifts applied in the system, and every shift can have its own settings. So, you can have different settings. A shift can be assigned by default to an employee. So if he needs a change or he wants to use a different shift, he needs to be assigned that, or else he can request for another change of shift.
Okay, and how does the system handle shift changing? Because in a hospital setting, the shifts keep getting uh, keep changing in real time.
Yeah. So if your process is wherein you have a process of different shifts, assigned to a certain employee, understanding that process, we can map and automate the assignments of shifts in the system. So it's just about creating those records automatically and the records being maintained in the database so that you can have it at the report level, and your employees won't be inconvenienced with having to request the shift every time. So they could be a trigger that we could understand and we can automate.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
I think Sapna, he has another follow-up question. How do earned leaves auto calculation work? For example, one earned leave earned every X amount of days.
Yes. So when you create salary components in the system, like I discussed, so there are various options and settings in there wherein you can define these parameters. So when we understand what you need, what are your various components, you just need to provide a payroll register or a summary, not the proprietary details of your employees. From that, we understand the components and then we apply it as per the states that you want the implementation for.
So in the default setting, it's like you can assign monthly accruals. You said something like 18 per year, and it calculates it to a per monthly basis and just gives those leaves. But the actual rules or policies say that, for example, an employee must gets one earned leave after 20 working days. So how to do that in the system? That's an issue.
Yeah. So in the leave type itself, you have an option which says earned leave. So when you go in the earned leave section, there are certain settings available that you can set if that leave type is an earned leave. And there you can define all this as well as the salary component that goes against that particular leave type.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay. The next question is in our company, we allow employees to borrow leaves. Can we do that in ERP Next?
So you can have a certain leave policy. When you say borrow leaves, there must be a certain leave type that you would allow for borrowing. So it's I mean, the carry forward is there. It's not the borrowing part is not available out of the box, or at least I have seen. But yeah, that can be configured and slight customization can be done to achieve it.
Okay. So next question is, How about bank hours? Banked hours. Instead of earning overtime pay, some employees might want to bank their hours so that they can get longer holidays. For example, how do we do that in ERP next?
So that's again, like I said, every company has its own process. So this may not be generic. So there are certain things which are generic in the system. So if you want to have it by the hours that you want to, utilize for holidays later on, say above a certain threshold, you want to utilize that as a full working day. If they have like, say, been working for 8 hours, they are applicable for one holiday. So that can all be configured via the leave type itself. There's a compensation leave type also that can be utilized for this capability.
Next question is, in fleet management, I would like to add a column for monthly lease of a vehicle. Can you easily add that column?
Yes. But why would you want to do that in the fleet management itself?
Rex, if you want to elaborate.
It's really just for the reporting. So our fleet management is managed in the production side and not on the accounting side. They actually just provide the report to our accounting, but they manage the reporting.
Okay. All right. Well, yes, it's not that technically it cannot be achieved, but I always try to understand if that problem statement really requires that level of customization, because most things are already linked and can be easily rendered in a report view. So, I mean, it's always best to segregate the features, although they are interlinked with each other, having an ERP as a backend. But if that's needed, that's doable. Yeah.
I think there is another question with regard to appraisal cycle. What if we want to do quarterly appraisal cycle? Can we set it in the system to do 4 times a year?
Yes, of course. So you can have different multiple appraisal cycles, and you can specify the details, and you can create appraisals for those cycles.
So I think Sandeep, he's looking for a good implementer. So I think Sandeep, you can get in touch with Sapna. Sapna, maybe you can share your details because he's looking for an implementer.
Sure, I've shared my sales ID at the chat.
And also alternatively, Sandeep, you can also even reach out to us on the contact us form, which I've shared. Though Sapna has already shared her email ID.
I'll do that.
Perfect. Next is by Steve. Can the system be integrated with Momo, that is mobile money?
Anything which has a REST API or API, it can be integrated with that.
A question from San. How can we deduct for late deductions at payroll? Let's say there was 3 late time. We'll deduct 1000 mmk/late. Can system calculate automatically by fetching attendance data from payroll?
Yes, absolutely.
Is estimate cost per position mean salary or recruitment cost?
That is your salary cost. But if in your company you would want to have a budget which is your recruitment cost, we can add in a field over there which sums up to reflect the estimated budget.
Okay. Next is by Naresh. Do you have any webinar scheduled for traders who use Tally or Sapna, do you want to take this question or should I take this question?
Yeah, either ways.
Okay, so we don't have a webinar, but we can schedule one. But there are ways that you can migrate from Tally to ERP next. So we also have Tally Migrator, and we also have this tool data import, which helps you migrate your data from Excel or CSV. So it becomes a really amazing tool if you're planning to shift from any of these platforms. Next question is by Chris. Should ERP Next be easily integrated with Recon tools,
Recon
digital
tools,
ecosystem?
digital
Yeah, Recon tools.
Yeah,
digital
so
ecosystem?
like I said, anything with an API, it can be integrated. So it could be a one-way integration, it could be a two-way integration, depends on what you want with that integration, whether you would want to sync real time or there's a certain process or certain records that you want to maintain. For example, somebody wants to integrate Shopify, but they want to do that just because they want to track their orders, but somebody wants to just maintain the list of customers they are receiving on Shopify inside of ERP. So it depends on what level of integration, what level of information you want to sync, whether that is one way, two way, would you want to draw the capability of the system for that integrated tool? So it depends on that. And that's what the implementer would be doing, is understanding and doing it correctly.
Okay, so the next question is by Tao. Is there a way to capture money expenses without doing so directly in general ledger?
Expenses, they all automatically reflect on your general ledger. I'm not 100% great at accounting, but I think everything that's related to money has to have a ledger entry so that the system is taking care of already. So I hope I've addressed all your questions. If there are any further questions, feel free.
Sapna, there are questions. The
Yeah.
next question with regard to KPI and reporting, can you show examples of reporting in finance or accounting?
So we can take up another session for finance and accounting, definitely via a webinar again, which Ankita would be scheduling and sharing an invite with all of
Or
you.
Rex, what you can do is one more thing. You can also get in touch with us directly. So we can actually help you. Sapna has already shared her email ID. I've also shared the contact us form. We can have a separate call on this. Maybe
Okay,
that will
sounds
work out.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Next question is by Thompson. Can ERP Next implement the Nigeria pay? Thompson, Sapna, I'll go ahead
Yes.
and answer this
Yes,
question.
we've
So,
already implemented payroll for Nigeria. Yes, we can.
correct. So it's already in process, and maybe we'll soon have it in our marketplace also on Frappe Cloud.
Yes.
Okay, great. Next is Toyin, looking for implementer for custom fleet management outside HR module. I think Toyin, you can directly get in touch with Sapna for this.
Okay, all right, thank you. I also wanted to ask, because our
Yeah, if you have some further questions, you can go ahead and ask.
okay, yeah, our company is globally distributed. Sorry, we have operations in different regions. For example, we have in North Africa, in Nigeria, West Africa, and then the UK. Will the implementation will be by different people? Because as you mentioned just now, that Nigerian instance is slightly different. HR implementation is different from UK.
So this is a
Can
multi-company system, Toyin. So definitely multi-company is not restricted by the country. So currently we are implementing for an organization which is having 13 country operations. And that's global. So and in that includes US, which in itself has about 7 companies of theirs. So again, this system is not restricted by the country. The implementer is not restricted by the company. The focus area definitely is for that country, because then they are available for support and implementation and communications that are needed during their time zone.
Okay, where's your company based? Sorry, this.
So our
Kore-
company is based in Canada, US, and India.
Sorry, how do you pronounce your company? KoreCent.
KoreCent. KoreCent. I've shared my email address, sales@KoreCent.com. So
All right.
at KoreCent.com, you can see the.
All right. Okay. Cheers.
Right.
Great. I think most of the questions are done, Sapna. So I think thank you everyone for joining in. Does anyone have any other questions? if someone has any questions, you can go ahead and ask. I have shared a link in the chat box right now with regard to the feedback of this webinar. So we would request you to please provide us your valuable feedback so that like what suggestions you have given in terms of warehouse management, like you would want to see all of that. So it will help us to improve our webinars, and we can provide you even more elaborate webinars in the future. So it will be really useful for us. So just do give us your feedback in the feedback form which I've shared in the chat box. Moreover, thank you all for joining. It has been a really wonderful webinar, and thank you, Sapna, for hosting it beautifully. It was a wonderful experience, and as Frappe people also, we have learned a lot. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That's motivating. Always a pleasure. Looking forward to many more sessions like this. Thank you.
Great. Puneet, do you have any words?
I think she has covered almost all the topic. In case you have any queries after the call, feel free to reach out to Sapna, me, or Ankita. We'll be happy to assist you guys.
Sure.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, and for joining. Have a
Thank you.
great day. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.